All right. We got the big one tonight, as everyone knows. Sergey Kovalev versus Canelo Alvarez for the WBO Light Heavyweight Championship of the World, live on the Zone. And I will be doing a live fight cast for the main event. So feel free to join me. I think that fight's going to go off real late tonight because of the bonehead move from Golden Boy Promotions and the Zone. They're going to wait till the UFC main event is over before they start their fight, I believe, or they're going to wait for the walkout or whatever. I don't know, but uh, it's kind of going to be a long, long night before we get to see this main event, regardless. But let's get into the fight. A lot of people are saying similar things here. Canelo is a huge favorite in a lot of people's minds. The odds for this fight, he's a minus 440 to win, but there's some interesting prop bets that you could play if you want to risk a little bit here. The odds for Canelo by stoppage on Five Dimes, my website that I used to bet on, is a plus 200. Canelo by decision is a minus 110. So a lot of people mostly are picking Canelo to win this fight by stoppage. So that looks like probably the best bet for your value there at a plus 200. So you can double up your money, take your original bet money back, plus you get double in return. So if you put up 100, you get 300 back. So why not do that? Or if you really, 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 really like Canelo by decision, you put up 110, you get 100 back. So, you're putting up an extra $10. But to put up $440 to make 100, not many people want to do that, and that's not something that I advise. Even though Canelo is the big favorite here, but why not? Why not use the prop bets? I mean, plus 200 is not bad for the knockout proposition. I think you can put up a little bit of money there and you double it up. I think it's the best play myself. That's the play that I would recommend. Canelo by stoppage with the plus 200. Doesn't matter what round he stops him in. Whether he stops him mid rounds or late rounds, you win the bet. So let's talk about the fight. You know, Sergey Kovalev is 36 years old. He's been stopped by Andre Ward. He's been stopped by Canelo Alvarez, and he was almost stopped by a very, very green Anthony Yard in his last fight. Now, Anthony Yard, I thought, was levels below Sergey Kovalev, with all due respect, but he was seconds away from knocking out Sergey Kovalev in that eighth round. That was a horrible eighth round for Sergey Kovalev, and credit to him for coming out in the ninth and being able to weather the storm. But it's no secret, guys. We already know that Sergey Kovalev cannot take it to the body. Andre Ward was the first fighter to expose this, and Anthony Yard, for some reason, waited to the eighth round to try to go to the body. But when he did, with that one punch, it really, really changed things around. But the problem is he gassed out. So we can play the game of woulda, coulda, shoulda. And Canelo Alvarez has been criticized about fading late in fights, but he never really gasses out to the point where he's out of the fight. And I think he's become more seasoned as he's gotten older. He's 29 years old. He's in the prime of his career. And I think he's really learned how to pace himself in fights. He's really learned how to relax in there. And he's starting to get a second win in the second half of the fight. And I think he's worked on that as he's improved over the years. So I don't think that'll be a problem in this fight, because I don't think Sergey Kovalev is really going to push the envelope in this fight. I mean, Sergey Kovalev does have a great jab, but he's not one of those guys who really, really throws a ton of punches. And this new version of Sergey Kovalev, or the old version, if you want to ask Buddy McGirt, because this is the guy that he saw in the images and basically told Sergey Kovalev, why don't you go back to that guy, the guy who boxed? So this version of Sergey Kovalev is going to be a little bit less aggressive, possibly, and he's probably going to fight at a even slower pace than normal. So I don't think Kovalev is really going to press the action in this fight. I think he's going to try and box from the outside. But Canelo Alvarez is just at his peak. He's so crafty now. He's so good at moving his head. He's so good at throwing feints. He's got a good jab. He knows how to really work himself inside very well. And when he gets there, he's really developed an outstanding inside game. He knows how to position his body. He knows how to keep his head off to the side, not in the center. Knows how to position his body, step around, and really dig those shots to the solar plexus. And he's really good at getting low and getting up underneath his opponent, and really, like I said, putting those shots together very, very well on the inside. And Kovalev just really has zero inside game. He cannot fight a lick on the inside. Andre Ward totally exposed that. And Alito Alvarez, to some degree, in the first fight, exposed that as well. Kovalev definitely is not the Kovalev of 4 or 5 years ago. This is not the same Sergey Kovalev that beat Bernard Hopkins, that beat Jean Pascal, that beat Nathan Cleverly. This is a guy that is turning the corner. This is a guy that is starting to go downward. He's not going upward, while Canelo Alvarez, obviously, as we know, 29 years old, is on the way up. So it's really, 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 really hard to see Kovalev winning this fight. And I'm going to be honest with you. I feel very confidently that he's going to get stopped tonight. So I'm definitely going to go with Canelo Alvarez with the stoppage. I think he's going to stop him in about 9 or 10 rounds. I think that plus 200 is a good bet to make here. And I just don't think Kovalev has that style. He's not that, he's a good technical boxer from the outside when he wants to be. But defensively, he's not incredibly slick. Doesn't have quick feet. He's not a guy that really counter punches. He's a guy that comes forward and likes to work behind the jab, and he's a 1-2 type guy. Doesn't have a big left hook. And that's not to say that he's not good at what he does. Does have a beautiful jab. It's a very, very, very good jab. He knows how to, throw it off speed. He knows how to switch up the rhythm of it, places it well, moves it around, doesn't just, throw it in one spot. He's not predictable with the jab, so you still have to time that jab when it's coming out. And, the right hand is a good right hand as well. But, a lot of times he clubs with it. Doesn't always throw it straight. Sometimes there's a little bit of loop to it. And I can see Canelo Alvarez getting inside that looping right hand and beating him to the punch with the hook. Canelo Alvarez definitely is a very, very slick boxer. He's got a sneaky right hand that he uses from the outside sometimes. He'll throw that little feint, and then he'll shoot the right hand in there, and then he'll slide up underneath after he throws the right hand and rips that left hook to the body. He's really, really come into his own, man. I mean, I've been critical of Canelo Alvarez, when he fought Erislandy Lara. When he fought Golovkin the first time, I didn't think he was going to win. I didn't think he was going to win the second fight, but I've really seen Canelo Alvarez improve. I just really seen him sharpen up his game. This is a guy that is really, like I said, come into his own. And I think he's at his peak, as I said earlier. And I don't think he's reached the ceiling yet. I think he's continuing to get better. The one caveat is that knee. He wears that knee brace. I guess he did have a knee injury. Doesn't seem to have really played a factor in his recent fights. I don't suspect it'll play a factor in this fight. Let's see if he still has the knee brace on tonight. He may or may not. We don't know that for sure. But, Canelo is the face of boxing. He is the face of boxing. And I think he is going to try to go for the stoppage tonight. I think they realize they know what they have in front of them. They know this isn't the best version of Sergey Kovalev. And Andre Ward, who is not known to be a big puncher, and even Alito Alvarez really isn't a knockout guy. Doesn't have a ton of knockouts in his fights either. Those two guys, not known for being heavy-handed guys, were able to wear down Kovalev and stop him. Andre Ward was 34 years old. That wasn't the 28 version of Andre Ward who won the Super Six. Even though that 34-year-old version of Andre Ward was still very formidable, that wasn't the best Andre Ward in there, and he retired, shortly after the fight. He was dealing with injuries and stuff. So if an Andre Ward who wasn't at his peak could stop Kovalev, I think this Canelo, who is at his peak, who is pretty heavy-handed and can get guys out of there, and he's an outstanding finisher. I don't think he's going to let Kovalev off the hook like Anthony Yarde did. I don't think he's going to blow his wad like Anthony Yarde did. I think he's going to be a lot more systematic and methodical and cerebral in his approach to dissecting Sergey Kovalev. And definitely he has the experience now with all the fights he's been in and all the big names he's been in there with. He's a seasoned pro. And you can argue that this, outside of Andre Ward, this is probably the toughest opponent that Kovalev has faced. This is probably the toughest opponent that Kovalev has ever faced, right alongside Andre Ward. So this is going to be a huge task for Kovalev tonight, even though he's the bigger guy. But as Teddy Atlas mentioned, he said Kovalev really isn't a physical guy, and he's really not a physical guy. He's not a guy that likes to maul and get aggressive, like with on the inside and body people. He's a guy, like I said, likes to box on the outside. So I'm really going with Canelo here. I know some people are saying that they think Sergey Kovalev should win the fight. There's a few people picking Kovalev, but I just don't see it, guys. Did they pick? Team Alvarez picked this fight for a reason, and they know. Like I said, they know the deal. They know the deal. So I can't wait for this fight tonight. I think this is going to be a great fight. The pick tonight is Canelo Alvarez by stoppage. I'm going to say 10th round. And take the plus 200, guys. I think it's a lock. Canelo Alvarez plus 200 stoppage. It's a lock, baby. All right, so make sure you guys join me tonight. I think this fight's going to come off real late. And make sure you check out the live cast tonight, because like I said, I'm going to be doing the live cast. Make sure you check out the Ringside Reporter podcast tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Eastern time. And Beeb is out. Talk to y'all soon. Peace. Have a great night. See you guys later.